Thank you for joining us today, Cara and Katie, on the Flowing Through SoCal video podcast. Today, we'll be talking about the San Diego International Airport and some of the stormwater infrastructure that is there. And thanks again for joining us today. Let me first, I guess, probably just start with a simple question here. Like, tell me a little bit about the San Diego Airport and how large is it, and just some general details about the airport itself.
Yeah, thanks, Sean, for having us. We're excited to be here to discuss San Diego International Airport Stormwater Program. I work for the Airport Authority and manage the environmental compliance at the airport. And Katie here also oversees our stormwater program. So we'll be happy to talk about it. Just an overview of San Diego International Airport. We're located in downtown San Diego, right next to San Diego Bay. We have very close neighbors. We are bordered by San Diego Bay on the south side, but we have residential neighbors to the east and to the west of us. And then the Marine Corps Recruit Depot is right on the north side. So, like I said, we're in close quarters right in downtown in the heart of San Diego. We are a postage stamp of a footprint. We are 661 acres. And I'll tell you that we try to utilize every square inch of that footprint. We're the busiest single runway airport in the United States. Some would argue busiest in the world. But we have about 48 operations per hour. So that's landing and takeoff. And in 2024, we had about 25 million passengers come through the airport. So we're really busy at the airport. We're trying to utilize, like I said, every square inch. The timing is obviously very crucial. So we're doing a lot here, and we're also doing a lot environmentally too.
Yeah, and flying into that airport is definitely an experience as you're kind of going past the buildings on the way in. It's definitely something to remember. And the other thing is, I think that, you don't have the luxury of some of these other international airports where you have these giant grassy areas and things and the ends and the sides of the runway. So you really are landlocked in to a pretty dense urban environment. So with that said, I mean, the airport must have a pretty robust environmental program and sustainability. Maybe talk a little bit about the environmental programs and water programs there at Lindbergh Field.
Yeah, I'll be happy to talk about that. So here at the airport, about a decade ago, the San Diego County Regional Airport Authority, that's our official title, about a decade ago developed a sustainability management program. So that program consists of 7 different plans. And the plans consist of the clean transportation, zero waste, strategic energy, biodiversity, carbon neutrality, climate resiliency, and then water stewardship, which is the focus of today's podcast. So really robust sustainability management program. I don't want to say that we were the first airport to develop a sustainability management program, but I do think that we are one of the first, and especially it's very extensive. So the first plan that was developed was in 2016, and it actually was the water stewardship plan. And it has a lot of has some aspirational goals and some metrics to try and achieve those aspirational goals. Now that it's been close to a decade since that plan was initially written and drafted, we are now currently in the process of evaluating the possibility of updating our water stewardship plan by reorganizing it, adjusting some of our goals and metrics to bring in more of our stormwater management program to protect water quality, as well as bringing in, the water conservation efforts that we really want to incorporate at the airport authority. So there is that opportunity to create and adjust our 3 aspirational goals that will be accompanied by metrics, targets, and timeframes. So it's a really robust plan. Like I said, we're looking at evaluating it, but also part of that really robust program that, and I just want to mention too, that it is board approved. So that whole program is board approved meaning that we really have a buy-in from our board and also buy-in from our elected or our executive leadership team. It's really a whole mindset, an environmental mindset that the airport authority has adopted. So we're really grateful for that as well.
That's great. And also, this airport discharges, if I'm not mistaken, directly into San Diego Bay, and there's pretty stringent receiving water limitations, and trying to meet the beneficial uses of that. And I assume there's some permits. Maybe talk a little about the NPDES permits that the airport authority has, and some of the challenges with those.
Sure, I'll go ahead and take this one. So
Thanks, Katie.
Yeah, of course. San Diego International Airport is actually subject to 3 different types of stormwater permits. The first being the municipal stormwater permit, the second being the industrial general permit, and the third being construction general permit. We have currently 3 active construction general permits. Much of that is related to the development of the new Terminal 1 project. And so there's a lot of different rules that we must comply with and that help direct our stormwater management program. So there's a lot of challenges associated with being regulated in 3 different ways, but I think the goal of all permits are the same, which is to protect water quality. And that's our goal as well. So some other challenges kind of associated with our location and our regulations is that we have a very high water table where we're located, somewhere between 6 and 10 feet. So our stormwater infrastructure that exists to help prevent flooding and to help prevent water quality issues is subject to coastal flooding, sea level rise, and a rising groundwater table. The low-lying nature of our location poses a challenge for our stormwater infrastructure. So during high tide, we'll actually see water in our inlets, meaning they're tidally influenced. And that's proven difficult for some of our larger infrastructure projects, like our storm filter at the west end of our runway, which has become inundated with ground, storm, and bay water that's unable to leave the system.
So the airport also has an industrial general permit. Tell me a little bit about how that's going.
Thanks for asking. So for the industrial permit, the airport is currently at level 2 for copper and zinc, based off previous sampling results. Even though our sampling numbers from last rainy season did not exceed NALs, we're still working through our exceedance response action plans and our technical reports. And a lot of the great work we're doing related to the new T1 will help us reduce that level. And I think Cara has some more information about how we've done that with a different analyte.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, so we actually, we were at level 1 for pH because we had seen those exceedances in our sampling, but we were able to get our sampling results back down. We also did some investigations for pH, assessed some of the concrete. We did some source investigation. So providing those necessary reporting that are required for the IGP once you get into some of those levels and exceed some of those NALs. We provided all of the requirements, and like I said, we were able to use some of our non-structural BMPs, such as sweeping, and some of our source investigation. We were able to get back down to baseline for pH. So I'm really grateful, and I'm really glad we did that there.
So it sounds like your pH was on the high end, not the low end.
It was on the high end as well. We thought maybe because we do have a lot of construction going on, we have some new concrete. So we looked at some of those sources. So like I said, a lot of our non-structural BMPs that we have in place, I think that contributed to being able to reduce that pH.
Yeah, I think a lot of times the non-structural or source control BMPs do a lot, and sometimes they get undervalued, and everybody wants to throw in treatment controls, but there's lots of benefits from source control BMPs. So what other types of treatment control BMPs are there at the airport?
Yeah, thanks for that question. I want to still touch on those non-structural BMPs and just our general stormwater program. So that we have a really comprehensive stormwater management program because we're subject to those three permits, but also because we are responsible for 600 acres of land that's right along San Diego Bay. So our work is really focused on preventing, reducing, or eliminating pollutant discharges to the surrounding environment. And in order to comply with those permits and protect the environment, we have to work with our own staff at the airport authority, but also all of our tenants like the airlines, concessions, and construction crews to ensure that our activities don't cause stormwater pollution in the first place. So that program involves everything from prohibiting illicit discharges to planning and developing stormwater infrastructure, daily, weekly, or monthly inspections, education and training, and then implementing those structural BMPs, sampling, monitoring, and reporting. So it's a big program. And
Oh,
we
wow.
rely heavily on our tenants to help us with those non-structural BMPs. And then the airport authority is working to pursue advanced structural BMPs. So we've been really ramping up the use of our treatment control BMPs over the last few years. We have about 600 storm drains, and approximately 40% of them have some sort of treatment control BMP in them. Some of those TCBMPs were installed as priority development projects, and others were installed generally for water quality purposes. But every brand type you can imagine, we've probably got it.
Yeah.
And then excitingly, 11% of our acreage is draining to capture, reuse, or infiltration systems. About 72 acres of our land is doing that.
Okay. And then I remember reading the Terminal 2 project when that was complete. The parking decks has some treatment control BMPs as well.
Yes, so our Terminal 2 parking plaza is the first instance of a large stormwater capture and reuse system here at the airport. The system at the Terminal 2 parking plaza has the ability to capture 2 million gallons of stormwater annually. And
Wow.
it works by when the rain falls on the top of the parking plaza and in the light wells, the rainwater trickles down to about 100,000 gallons worth of storage in the pipes. And then that water is reused at our treatment system on the south side, which is co-located with our central utility plant. And the water is used in our as cooling tower makeup water after it's treated. Excitingly, we're in the process of updating this system so that it can accept more water as part of the new T1 project.
Okay. So, right. So I was at the airport a couple weeks ago and there's quite a bit of construction happening in the T1 area. So
Mhm.
what will happen with the parking lot and the decks in that area as well? How will that commingle with T2?
Yeah, great question. I feel like anyone who's gone to the airport recently, it's a new experience every time you go. It's changing really quickly, and we're really excited for our new Terminal 1 project. It was a great opportunity for environmental to put some of our initiatives into that new Terminal 1 development project. So, as I mentioned, an expansion of the airfield, an improvement of the airfield, and a lot of that will be stormwater captured. So, as part of that, we are going to be capturing about 155 acres of stormwater, consisting of the airfields, some of the roadways and landside around the new terminal, and as well as the terminal roof and the Terminal 1 parking plaza. So similar, we tried to mimic what was going on at Terminal 2 parking plaza since it was such a great success. We wanted to mimic that at New Terminal 1, the terminal building itself and the parking plaza. So that water will be used in a number of ways, and including some capture and reuse and infiltration.
So all those flows are directed to some type of holding tank and then treatment and then use it for. And so what will it be used for, this captured and treated stormwater?
Yeah, so that water, it will be, some of that water will be sent to actually a cistern. It's about 1 million gallons. It's being built as part of the Airside project. So that's on our south side. It'll be just east of the terminal building, underground. Unfortunately, if you go out there, you'll never see it, but it is underground. So all that water will be sent to that cistern and then pumped over to our existing stormwater treatment facility that Katie had mentioned that is
Okay.
being upgraded and retrofitted. However, some of the portions that say like the Terminal 1 parking plaza and about half of the terminal building roof, that will just be sent directly to the stormwater treatment facility just because of proximity. Similar, but we'll be using that water, all that captured water, again at our central utility plant to heat and cool the buildings, but then we'll also be using it to flush toilets and urinals within the terminal building. So really exciting that we'll have that demand at that terminal building and be able to reuse that water.
Yeah, that's a lot of water. And then you'll be able to offset your potable water usage, right, from this reuse of stormwater. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
I also just wanted to say too, with the new terminal building, it will be dual plumbed. So meaning that the first priority usage will be that captured stormwater to flush the toilets and urinals. And then we are partnering with the city of San Diego, the city's Pure Water project for reclaimed water. We're hoping to utilize that project once it comes online in about 2035. So still a ways out, but
Yeah.
we are hopeful that we'll be able to utilize that reclaimed water and use that. And then if all else, we will fall back on domestic potable water. But some really good sources there for reuse and staying away from potable water.
That's really exciting. And what are we looking at in terms of gallons per year for capture, infiltration, and reuse?
Yeah, so we didn't mention that the new T1 project also includes some infiltration beds. So if our cistern ever fills up and there's not enough demand in the terminal, the excess water should flow to some newly constructed infiltration beds. Additionally, on the north side, we have a 3 million gallon cistern that is currently capturing water and infiltrating that back down to the earth. As for numbers, it always depends on the amount of rain that we receive. So we track this data annually and get really excited when the numbers are high. However, it's totally dependent on Mother Nature. So in 2024, our Terminal 2 parking plaza captured and reused about 600,000 gallons of stormwater. And then our north side cistern captured over 8 million gallons of stormwater, but that water was simply infiltrated back down over in some bioretention ponds that are located next to the rental car center. Since the beginning of those two projects, the north side cistern and the Terminal 2 parking plaza, we've actually captured over 20 million gallons of stormwater, which prevents that water from just going directly to the bay.
Wow. In the large cistern in the rental car area, you say that was 3 million gallons?
Eight is actually over 8 million gallons in
8. Okay.
2024.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah,
a lot of water.
the capacity of it is 3 million gallons. So
Okay.
we
Yeah.
definitely
Right.
have a large capacity that we could capture.
Right. So you filled it and drained it about 3 times. That's crazy.
Yeah, and the intention there is to eventually find a higher and better use for that water. Currently, the system is oversized for the amount of water that is draining to the cistern, but there has to be some more investment in rerouting drainage into the cistern, and then more investment into rerouting that water for non-potable reuse. But I think an idea that we're investigating the feasibility of is connecting that cistern to the rental car facility for washing vehicles.
Ooh, that's cool. Yeah. I imagine they use quite a bit of water in vehicle washing every year.
Yeah,
Yes, they
definitely.
do.
And I just want to say too, I mean, yeah, Katie talked about the investment of, kind of rerouting and then doing the connection. One of the challenges, we are working at an operating airport. So it is challenging sometimes to want to do some of these larger projects where we can go in and open up the ground and dig and reroute maybe some storm drain lines. But that is on our ramp. That is where airplanes need to park. That's where they need a taxiway. So it's trying to find that balance between um, having these environmental goals and initiatives that we want to implement, but also still working at an operating airport.
Mm.
So this is why we really try to take advantage of and capitalize on those large construction projects and get those environmental initiatives and programs in where we can.
Yeah, that's truly amazing. Any other cool technologies or anything happening that with this water and stormwater at the airport authority?
Yeah, so I think we're trying to navigate this from a couple different ways. I think treatment control BMPs are still exciting and still offer a really great solution for preventing stormwater pollution. So we are continuing to install treatment control BMPs. We just installed 12 last year, and we have 11 that just arrived at our procurement warehouse that we're installing any day now. Those treatment control BMPs are going to be full capture certified and installed on our airfield. So we're looking forward to those. Like Cara mentioned, as much as we can try to get involved in our airport design and construction's large projects, every time that we expand our capture and reuse program, that helps us reduce potable water use and protect water quality. So that in and of itself is innovative and exciting, and we're doing it with the new T1. And then also, as we're looking to update our water stewardship plan and adapt to our changing climate and our changing weather patterns, we're trying to get creative with the water that we do have on site. So we're trying to develop alternative sources of water. And one of those programs that's a little innovative and different is our AC condensate and reuse program.
Okay.
So back in the day, the HVAC systems that are located underneath the jet bridges were leaking a lot of water onto the ramp. And one of our ramp agents pointed it out and said, "Hey, isn't that a waste of water and potentially a safety concern?" And they said, "Why can't we do something with that water?" So Environmental helped create a program where we're trying to capture and reuse the water that's dripping out of the HVAC systems underneath the planes and jet bridges. And we reuse it for things like washing equipment, or we infiltrate it down sometimes too. But excitingly, there is a program that you may have heard of. Do you want to guess what it was, Sean?
I had read an article about a local brewery was involved somehow.
Yes, exactly. So this is a story that a lot of people love, and it's it's a way to show how creative we can get with alternative water. So in 2024, we captured over 100,000 gallons of AC condensate from the jet bridges, and
Okay.
we're wondering, what do we do with that water? And there was an opportunity for us to partner with East Village Brewing and their consultants, Waterworks Inc., and our contractor, Ocean Blue Environmental, to actually collect that condensate and turn it into beer.
How does it taste? It's probably
Delicious.
good, right?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so last year we took that water and we do treat it, and we turned it into 3 different beers, including Hoppy Travels, which was an IPA,
Okay.
Carry
I like that.
On.
I like that name.
Yes,
Hoppy
yes.
Travels.
We try to get creative with the names. So Hoppy Travels, and then we had Carry On, which was a Hell style lager.
Okay.
And then Flight of the Peach, which was very popular and rebrewed a couple of times, and that's an ale.
Okay.
Um, so that water that we collect from the jet bridges is relatively clean because it has less total dissolved solids in it than, say, our municipal water. And once it's filtered down and maybe ozonated, It actually makes an ideal base for brewers. So that way they have a blank slate to create delicious brews. And while the collaboration is just a really small amount of water reuse compared to some of our other numbers, I think it highlights what's possible as far as reuse opportunities at the airport, as well as what's possible when you partner with other community members.
Yeah, that's great. And there's a big push statewide in California now for this, stormwater harvesting and reuse to try to offset our potable consumption. It's all great stuff. This has been very exciting. I had no idea that airport was involved in so many different stormwater capture and reuse projects. This has been very informative. Thank you both for joining me today on this video podcast, and I hope to have you in the future, maybe after the new terminal expansion project is complete. That'd be great to have you back and get an update on new volumes of water that you've captured and treated. So thanks again for joining today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, happy to be here. Happy to chat about what we're doing at the airport. And yeah, we'll come back anytime.
This has been great. Thank you so much. See you guys next time.